Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to Food for Life, Lessons from the Garden. Before we'll begin with the final set of presenters for this day, let's have our last two trivia questions for the day, where you can win prizes. Again, we have a mic at the center. First come, first serve, paunhanay lang. And our question is, in Cebuano cuisine, what is kinilaw commonly referred to in English? Bring translation. Again, what is kinilaw commonly referred to in English? Sige, go. That's Mike.
Hello.
Hello.
Ceviche or raw fish salad?
Ceviche or raw fish salad? Correct. Please claim your prize here. Thank you. Ceviche. Mo din na siya ang English sa kinilaw or raw fish salad. Next trivia question. What is the traditional Visayan dish often served during important family events like weddings and christenings, symbolizing prosperity, festivity, and unity? Again, what is the traditional Visayan dish often served during important family events like weddings and christenings, symbolizing prosperity, festivity, and unity? Go. Go, sir.
Lechon.
Lechon, correct. So please claim your prize here. Thank you. Okay, thank you everyone for participating in our trivia. For our last set of presenters, For our next presenter, he graduated with a Master of Arts in Literature degree from the University of San Carlos, where he teaches humanities and literature courses. He was a fellow in the 24th Iligan National Writers Workshop in 2017, the Tala Workshop Series in 2016, and the 30th Cornelio Faigao Memorial Annual Writers Workshop in 2014. He has published his short stories and poetry in the Bisaya, with his latest work, Ulan sa Verano. He received 2 awards in 2017 with the 15th Jimmy Y. Balakwit Literary Awards and the 10 masaarong bagong magsusulat sa Bisaya sa tuig 2017. He is also a literary and a technical translator. Let us all give a round of applause for Mr. Nino Agustin Loyola.
Thank you kindly, Joel, for that introduction. And thank you, Dr. Hope, and the rest of the team of the Cebuano Studies Center for giving me this opportunity to present here. And as what you can see here and on the screen, this is what I'll be presenting, although when I was listening to the research papers earlier today, I was also thinking, what if I could have presented a research paper than just a teaching module? I could have changed it into the themes that we will be talking about in the poems of Josua Cabrera, which would be food, love, and memory. On the selected poems of Josua A. Cabrera from his poetry book Kisaw sa Napukaw nga mga Adlaw. So when you teach this module to the teachers here, I think it would also be proper when you introduce also the author. So on the next slide, I just got his profile from artcebu.com. So interestingly, aside from being a writer, he is also an artist. So in fact, you can actually see his editorial cartoon in the newspaper. Although he does exhibit paintings and drawings with the medium on pen and ink and watercolor. And on the next slide, I'm just going to show you some of his accolades. And interestingly, this is just in the first half of the 2000s. And in 2005, he actually also won a Palanca Award. No? So it's very impressive. And then if you notice some of his awards, it's related to on his artist side. And I'm just going to show you real quick what the book looks like. Actually, you can find this. I don't know if this is on sale in the center or at Palmgrass Hotel. Yeah, at Palmgrass Hotel. And this was released in 2018. I believe that was December 2018. I was lucky enough to be there in the book launching. And yeah, basically the copy of my book is a signed copy. So yeah, for the lesson proper, on the next slide, the food or the beverage here featured are listed here in front of you. And it's easy to remember them because these are also the titles. These are also the titles of the poems that can be found on the aforementioned book. So pagpangita na ko og pagpangita na ko og poems related sa food sa iyang libro kay dali ra ko maka-pinpoint kay pagkaon naman daan ang title. But yeah, which among this here on the menu is your favorite? Bahalina? Su-tu-kil? And then yeah, from Puso is very familiar if you've seen the program. The presenters, the rest of the presenters will be talking, or after me would be talking about the Puso as well. But the poem Steamed Rice, interestingly, it actually won a second prize in the DYLA poetry writing contest way back 1997. So yeah, you guys like steamed rice, right? Like where can you find steamed rice? Radex. Although yeah, historically, let me just when you say culture, if you look at the other menus in other Chinese restaurants, you actually could not see steamed rice. But you can especially see, aside from Bradex, before Bradex, you have Harbor City. You have unsa na ilang branches niya, Dim Sum Break, Ding Hao, way back in Colon. Which interestingly, you can actually give a hypothesis, although this needs further research, I believe. Yeah, I wish I can do this, but it's more on the anthropological side. But since it's a Chinese restaurant that like Ding Hao, for example, it's a Chinese restaurant that served this infamous steamed rice, and then it's owned by Filipino Chinese in Cebu. So there's reason to believe that mura siya lumpia ba nga. It's from lumpia and pancit nga. It's Chinese origin, but it is actually associated with Filipino food. So specifically Cebuano food. So I think we can go with that hypothesis that steamed rice is technically Cebuano food from Chinese Hokkien style menu item. So so when you introduce, you can actually give this as an introduction to your students, and then to the students here, you can also give your inputs to the teacher, or whatever newer other information you know about this food here. I don't know if nabo mo maingon og bahalina kung nakainom na mo bahalina. All right. But yeah. I'm sure you've liked Su-tu-kil, and you know Puso. And then on the next slide, us teachers would be able to introduce these objectives, but also timing kayo nga ever since the past decade, and then it was reiterated just earlier this week to us SAS teachers, us educators in USC, currently in USC are encouraged to already integrate to the outcomes-based education, so OB. So I believe it's a good reminder that when you state your objectives, it would also match with your assessment and vice versa. And also the challenge to us teachers at the same time is to deliver an assessment that is something that the students can handle nga, di ta reklamuhan, or kita po di ta maglisod og grade. So, at the end of this outcome, you, the students listening here, you'll be able to analyze the use of symbolism and imagery as literary devices in Cabrera's poems. So I'm sure you, for literature students here or English major students, you have already the idea of what symbolism and imagery is as literary devices. And evaluate the given literary text with the clearer objectives and more defined methods of criticism and interpretation, thus being able to appreciate the entirety of the text and explain the literary. The last one is a two-part, depending on what kind of direction as a teacher you would intend to choose when you do the assessment. So letter A, explain the literary value of the text by writing a critical paper on the selected contemporary poems of Josua Cabrera, and or B, create a Binisaya poem by replicating from his writing style, which later on you will be surprised. It's easy to understand, but there's still like a poetic, there's still the poetic value in it, even if it almost looks very, very narrative, very prosaic. So on the next slide, what you're gonna do is to let the students read the poems. And of course, to the students here listening, it's when the teacher would give you readings, even if the teacher would not remind you, but it's like SOP that before coming into class, you should already have read the readings, whatever the readings the teacher has provided, the titles. So especially my students here, where are you? So I hope you're able to read already the novels. And then, let the students read the poems. Or, since it's just a short read, like what we're going to do in a while, you can use like the first 5-10 minutes of the class to read the poems so that everybody will get will get situated into the poem. And then, recount on those times when a certain food reminds them of something and certain feelings upon reminiscence. And participate in the discussion that revolves around the themes, literary devices, and the message of the assigned literary work. So can I ask, I was already approaching Joel earlier to read the first two poems on the upcoming slide. So can we hear real quick from Joel once he read this in his voice? So go ahead, Joel. Thank you.
Su-tu-kil, kang tatay wani. Nahisama sa nagbagang adlaw, sa kapunaw-punawan ang pundok. Sa mga uling dihang gihuyop kini ni tatay aron modukot ang baga. Muluto sa gidangdang niyang tulingan, humagsugba. Gitak-ang niya ang kaldero sa sugangan. Sa pagbukal sa tubig sulod ni ini, nangundat ang mga hiniwang kamatis, sibuyas dahonan, iba, dinukdok nga luya, ug binugkot nga tangad, apan kalit silang ni kalma sa dihang iyang gilunod ang mga hiwang ulo sa bariles. Iyang gihulat ang pagbukal ug balik sa tubig ug ang pangalisbo ni ini. Sa banggira, gisugda niyag timpla ang mga bulinaong gilumsan sa siniliang suka. Usahay, makapiyong siya sa kahapdos sa iyang mata sa dihang iyang gihiwa-hiwa ang bumbay ug luya. Sa lamesa, human sa panihapon, natagbaw og ipaningot ming tanan. Nanugab si nanay, kayang among sudan, tinimplahan man, sa singot ug luha ni tatay. Ang next. Puso. Nagbitay ang buwan, gisugan. Si Lola Tutang nga nagtakos og bugas sulod sa iyang gila nga mga lukay. Giduslita ni Lolo, ako'y ang sidsid sa kangit-ngit ilam sa dakong kaldero nga gisudlan og tubig. Ilang apson ang pagnaog sa buwan kay lagi. Igsaka sa adlaw, muagi sinang Helen, aron kumprahon ang tanang puso nga ilang mahimo. Dalhon manggod ni ng Helen ang mga puso didto sa syudad, aron ibaligya sa Larsan, ipare sa barbecue ni Nong Berto, iyang bana. Daghan silag suki, apil na ana sila, si Dong John og Day Lorly, nga halos kada gabii mupalit sa ilang barbecuehan, aron ilang bawnon samtang mag-date-date sa Fuente Osmeña, nga mausay kalaki nilang Lola Tutang og Lola Akoy, kaniadtong uyab pa sila.
Okay, thank you. Very well read, Joel. So if you notice, this is what I was mentioning earlier, that it almost sounds so narrative, so prosaic. And the persona here, if you analyze directly the poems, the persona here are actually relating, are actually being reminded. So the persona here is reminiscing the how the love goes with on the first poem being read, kang sa singot sa luha ni tatay. So this pertains to the kind of relationship, or kind of relationship between his tatay and nanay, and then also in Puso, especially in the last paragraph, mag-date-date sa Fuente Osmeña nga maosay kalaki. So he's reminiscing also nilang Lola Tutang ug Lolo Akoy, kaniadtong uyab pa sila. So very vivid, the imagery is very vivid. And so later on, once you, and then you can further talk about the other literary devices here, and then on the once you do the assessment, Mr. Zhao, can you go skip through the assessment? Yeah, ako nabasa ang Bahalina og steam rice, but I know 1 minute lang ko. So here's what you can either let the student do. So in a literature class, it would either be creative writing or on the literary research. So for literary research, you can let the student do critical essay, explain how the theme of food is assimilated in the 4 poems, and what is the relation of such themes in the imagery, because the imagery here is very vivid, how it was narrated in the poem. And then local color also, how it was also being explored. And there's a set of rubrics there for your guidance, or you can modify that. And then for the creative writing part on the next slide, you can let them write also poetry writing, but emphasize the theme on food. And then you can give them the freedom to any poetry type, as long as you emphasize also that no matter what language, how simple the language is used, a poem is a poem because of its literary elements. Otherwise, it's just another mura kag nag-post o kanang paragraph sa Facebook nga gihimog stanza ba, nag-narrate ra ka. But it needs, no matter what language you use, there needs to be the literary value, the literary language in it. So to conclude, with those subjects in the poems, the readers and students are able to analyze how these are used not only in symbols but also as images. The mention of food in Cabrera's poems tend to allow the readers to imagine the personal surroundings and the other manners, thus evoking the local color through these poems, especially the Cebuano local color. The identity of the region is seen through these poems. So ultimately, the readers and the students would be able to understand the meaning of local colors through these poems and would be able to appreciate more how important it is to promote our own culture to the world. So that would be the end of my short presentation. Thank you so much for listening. Maraming salamat mga bayaw at hipag.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nino Agustin Loyola.